Have you ever wanted to start a business of your own and actually start monetizing your big ideas? I know that when I was first getting started, the idea of starting my own business felt super overwhelming. But today, I'm going to break down the reasons why starting a business can actually be a lot simpler than you think, and 3 things you really need in order to get started. Welcome back to the podcast. If you're listening to the audio version of this, you can't see, but today I have a furry little sidekick. My puppy, Oz, just had to be in on the action. So I almost feel like Dr. Evil here. I'm like stroking his head while I'm recorded. So, if you hear some adorable puppy noises, you're welcome. That's all I have to say about that. But listen, I wanted to have this conversation because I just finished a training with a group of women that we are taking through a top secret new project that we've been working on, a new mentorship program that's going to be launching this fall. And we had this conversation about, what do you actually need in order to start a business? Like, do you need the fancy website? Do you need a whole branding photo shoot? Do you need business cards? Like, what the heck do you actually need? And when we were talking about it, it made me realize, wow, the fundamental things you actually need to get started, like how you could just get into action, help people, and launch your idea pretty quickly, it doesn't actually take that much. So I know it's easy to overcomplicate this, and don't get me wrong, it does take work. When I say simple, I'm not saying it's easy or you just wake up and have a successful business. I'm talking to those of you who have been finding yourselves getting ready to get ready, and you've been procrastinating on getting your message out there because you feel like you need all of these fancy tools or all of this training before you can actually just get started. And the truth is, you're gonna learn as you go. Like, if no one has ever told you, anyone who's running a business right now, we are figuring this out as we go, actively. So every time I go to launch something new or start a new project, or this year, it's figuring out how to take a live event and make it virtual. I just figure it out as I go. I don't wait to have it figured out and then get into action. So I really want to give you permission today that if you've been sitting on an idea and one that you really do want to monetize and maybe even make a full-time business, I want to give you some permission that what you need to get started, like just to get off the ground, start making an impact, may not be as much as you think. And we're gonna seriously simplify it for you so that you can get into action around your big ideas and make the impact that you know you are meant to make. So you don't need to wait in order to start serving people with your unique gifts. Let's just kind of break it down, and then I will go a little bit deeper into each of these. But when we were having this conversation with our mentorship group, we boiled it down into the simplest terms, like, what do you actually need in order to start that business? The first thing you need, and again, we'll go back through each of these and go a little bit deeper, but the first thing you need is a problem that you solve. Like, if you think about it, that's what businesses exist for, right? To solve problems. And then you need a way for people to find out about you and your company. So how are they going to know that you can help them? You need a way for them to pay you, because businesses solve problems for a profit, so money needs to be exchanged. And then if you're selling a physical product or even a digital one, you do have to have a way that you're going to deliver it as well. So let's kind of go through one by one and really give you so much permission to just freaking get started. And I think this, number one, the problem that you solve, tends to be where a lot of us get stuck, right? We don't feel like we have complete clarity around the business that we want to start or the exact product that we want to launch. And the reason that I started with saying it in this way, that you need a problem that you solve, is because you want to focus there. You want to focus on creating an actual solution to a problem that people you want to impact have. So if it doesn't solve a problem, it's a little harder sell to connect the dots for why people need it in the first place. And I would bet that what you're most inspired by is looking around at a problem or a challenge that people in your life or people that you see often face. Maybe it's even a problem that you've overcome in the past and you want to create your own unique solution or methodology or coaching in order to help others who might struggle with that same thing. So focusing on the problem is the first place to start. And if you aren't sure, or if it feels a little fuzzy and you couldn't just tell me point blank, here's the problem that I solve, then a great place to start is get some feedback. Think about the people you want to impact. What are their fears? What are their struggles? What do they wish existed that doesn't currently exist right now? Or maybe they just don't really align with any of the options in which this current solution exists. Ask them. Ask for feedback and get it in their own words. This is something that I do whenever I'm starting a new project or launching a new offering within my own business. Is I'll get feedback from the people that I'm creating it for. Do they really need it? Does this actually address a challenge that they have? And then if so, I proceed, right? And then that feedback that I got also gives me a ton of insight into my marketing copy, my sales copy. So first and foremost, to have a business, all you really need is a problem that you want to solve. Plain and simple. So the second thing is, if you're going to solve this problem, you need to have a way for people to find out about it. And this is often where I think it can be easy to confuse this with needing a lot of fancy tools. Because a lot of the most common ways that we think about finding out about a product or service is through advertising or through a beautiful website. And while those are great, you don't actually need that to get started. There's a lot of free resources or very low-cost resources that can help you start to spread the word. So ways for people to find out about you and your company, or a place for your company to live. Meaning, okay, let's say I hear from a friend that you are an amazing health and fitness coach. Okay, where am I probably going to go look for you? Number one, on social media. Hello, free, right? Free to set up a profile there. Maybe a business Instagram page, a business Facebook page. So first and foremost, you can set up a place for people to find you on social. Super simple. Number two, a website. So I might go and Google if I hear your company name, or maybe I'm just even doing a general Google search for someone who offers a specific solution. Then I might go to Google or, search around for companies on the World Wide Web and look for your website. So a web page is something that you can invest a lot of money in. And I don't recommend you do that in the very beginning. I'm a big fan of starting simple. So either start with a more do-it-yourself platform like Squarespace, or, you could even, depending on what you sell, use sites like Eventbrite. If you're selling tickets to an event or, even workshops, you can technically run those sales through Eventbrite and set up a page that people can find out about what you're offering right there. Or Etsy, right? So there's other online e-commerce platforms that you don't have to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars into a website. You can actually utilize platforms that already exist. If you're more of a freelancer and you offer services, you could list your services on places like Upwork. So you can think outside the box and really get by with not investing a ton of money in the very beginning, but then reinvest your profits as you get going into building a better website as you grow. It's way better to do it this way anyhow, because as you go along, you're going to get really clear on who you serve, what products and services you actually want to offer, and those may change. So it doesn't make sense to invest a ton of money in the beginning in a fancy website when all you really need is a way for people to find you. And there's so many free or really low cost tools that can offer you that. So huge aha for me when I first got started to realize that I didn't need all the bells and whistles. I just had to get started. The third thing, and this seems kind of obvious, but again, if technology is maybe not your favorite thing, this might cause you a little bit of it might have you overthink how complicated starting a business really is. So the third thing is a way for people to pay you, right? You need to have a way to accept money. And if businesses solve profit or problems for a profit, then we've got to focus on where that money, once you collect it, is going to go. And trust me, there is no better feeling in the entire world than being compensated for your gifts, for using your gifts to positively impact other people, and then being compensated financially for that. I mean, you kind of never get over it once you have that first experience. Like, wow, I offered value to someone and they paid me for it. Like, this is so cool. How can I do this more? So a couple of things that you really want to do, and for sure I recommend work with a great CPA, or you could get a great bookkeeper. Again, you don't even necessarily need all of those to get started, but I do recommend just making sure your business is legit. So set it up. Make sure you have an LLC and an EIN set up. If you don't know what those are, give it a quick Google search. Just basically like a social security number for your business. And then it allows you to set up a separate bank account. So you do want to have a separate bank account for your business. That's huge. And if you talk to a CPA, they would probably recommend the same. And there's a lot of really great reasons for why. But then let's talk about how you actually accept payment. Because for me, this was something where when I was launching different products and services, it really kind of confused me. Like, okay, but how do I accept credit cards? How do I have people pay me? And so I'm going to give you just a couple of the most popular ones. And again, depending on what it is that you're selling, you might actually have a payment processor integrated into the place where people are finding out about your products and services. So I already mentioned Eventbrite. So if you sell tickets for events or workshops through Eventbrite, then Eventbrite actually processes those payments, and then you just link your bank account. Things like PayPal, so you can even set up a business PayPal and send invoices that way. You can also do the same thing with a platform like an accounting platform like QuickBooks. So there's a lot of different online tools available that will allow you to send invoices, and I'll list some of my favorite ones in the show notes so you can check them out. But find the one that fits your needs the best. You definitely don't need a huge plan or subscription on any of these platforms in order to start accepting money for your services. But I'm going to give you just this little tip that I realized, even just as a consumer on the other side, is that you want to find a platform that allows you to accept credit cards. So a lot of businesses that I've worked with over the years, whether it's photographers, videographers, sometimes I'll get an invoice and the only option to pay is either through an e-check or directly from my business checking account, which I never mind. However, a lot of consumers as well as businesses, depending on who your target customer is, are looking to use a credit card either because they get miles or that's where they keep their business expenses. And to me, now this is just my personal preference, it makes me feel like the business is fully legit when they allow me to use credit cards, right? Usually the reason why people aren't or don't set their software up to accept credit cards is you pay a little bit of a transaction fee. So it's 3% on each transaction in order to be able to process credit cards. But I think that in the long run, having the ability to do that just, again, makes you seem more legit, even if you just have a very simple operation in the background in order to get yourself up and running in order to start accepting payments. So you can do payments in any one of those ways. Again, start with something like PayPal if you are just getting off the ground, or look for a website that integrates the payments right within so that it makes it even easier. So if we really look back, right, this is the oversimplified way of explaining what you need in order to get a business off the ground. But I want you to honestly ask, where are you making it more complicated than that? Did you think that you needed a fancier website? Did you think that you needed a business coach in order to get started? Or where were you getting in your own way? Because all you really need is a problem that you solve, a way for people to find out about you, like a home on the internet, whether it's on social media or a website, and then a way for people to pay you. And with those three, you have everything that you need to get up and running and start serving the world with your gifts. Now, I do believe in mentorship, and I do believe in having help along the way. As you know, we always say you're not meant to do business or life alone. So if you haven't already seen, we just launched something really, really cool. And especially if you are brand new in business or in the early stages, this is especially for you. Although I will say this is truly for anyone, no matter what stage of business they're at. We started a text mentorship list. So essentially, it's like having a mentor right at your fingertips. So you can text this number I'm going to give you, and every single week, twice a week, you're going to get a business or a mindset tip, just a little something to help keep you going in the right direction. And it comes like legit right to me. So this is like my text phone number. And yes, I will really respond to you. So the number is 602-536-7829. Don't worry, I don't expect you to remember that. If you're driving especially, don't worry about writing it down. Just head to the show notes. There's a direct link right there. If you click it with your phone, it'll even like open up the text app and allow you to text me right from there. So you can go to the show notes, the number will be there as well as the link if you want to just directly use that. But all you have to do is text the word mentor to this number and then you're in. And I cannot wait to support you, encourage you, send you these little tips like the 3 that we talked about today, and really just help you to simplify this whole process of starting a business. Because at the end of the day, it all goes back to that first part we talked about, that there is a problem right now that someone out there is struggling with, and you might be the person who is uniquely qualified to help them. So I want to make sure that you don't get in your own way in doing exactly that. So text me. I cannot wait to text back and forth with you and support you along the way. And just remember, you are not meant to do any of this alone.